Whoever would have thought we'd make it to Demo 2?
I'm telling you.
And here we are.
What are we doing?
All right, so like we said, we're going to do a little bit of hierarchical data access. We've got our Windows form here, and
looks like we have some kind of control there in the middle.
that is a data grid. It is docked to all sides. You can simply set the dock property to get access to that. Now, let's dive into this Server Explorer thing, okay? Server Explorer gives us access to the server-side resources on our machine, if you will. We can see we have the VSP imp machine that we're diving into a particular database.
Love that imp machine.
Yep, VSP imp. What I've just done is I've dragged the customers table onto my form, and you see that creates two objects for us, the SQL connection and the data adapter. Now that's that same data adapter object we were working with before. That's going to pull information from that customers table, but then the question is, where do we put it?
Where do we put it?
I'll tell you. We put it into a data set, and in this case we're going to call it DS Customers Orders. Now, we're going to be showing both the customers table, which we've already dragged, as well as the orders table, both within this single data set. That is one of the great beauties of ADO.NET.
So now we have an object that represents our data, and we can just manipulate it like any other object.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that object. When we create that data set, we create that DS Customers Orders XML schema file. And we'll bring that up into our XML designer here. And so this is a view of what our data is going to look like. This helps us out doing things like strongly typed programming with our data access, okay? So VS.NET, Visual Basic.NET automatically creates that for us. Now let's grab that second table, the orders table. That creates a second data adapter for us, okay? We have two data adapters, but check this out. We're going to cram both sets of that information into the same data set, not a new one, the existing DS Customers Orders data set. That ain't easy to do in VB6, okay? So now we've got customers information and we have orders information inside of that single DS Customers Orders data set. Let's go ahead and view the schema again. Now we've got our customers table and our orders table inside of that data set. Now let's create, now let's create a relationship between these two. Let's marry them, if you will. Parent element is customers, child element is orders, because customers have orders. We're going to click OK, and now check this out. We have created a one-to-many relationship between the customers table and the orders table within our own data set.
So now we have an easy way to navigate both the master as well as the detail information in a single structure.
You are pretty bright, my friend.
Whoa.
Yeah. All right. Now, what are we going to do here? Let's go ahead and set the data source for that data grid, okay? And we're simply going to set the data source to the data set DS Customers Orders. Now remember, in the previous demo we did this in code, but you're seeing here how we can do that using the designers and the tool windows provided for us as part of the greatest tool ever, VB.NET.
Drag and drop, baby.
Drag and drop, drag and drizzop. You know how we do. Now I'm going to write a couple of lines of code here. We've got our SQL Data Adapter 1.
There's our friend Phil again.
There is Phil. We are filling, we are binding. So we've got the SQL Data Adapter 1 pulling information from the customers table. We've got SQL Data Adapter 2 pulling information from the orders table. And what are we doing? We are cramming them. And when I say cramming, I mean it, into that same data set. I've written 2 lines of code. That's all we need. Let's go ahead and run this application and see hierarchical data within the Windows Forms data grid.
I usually have to take a break after every 2 lines of code that I write.
Yeah. On form load, we load up the customer information as well as the order information. And now you'll notice for each row, there's a little plus thing. And for each customer, we can then drill into the orders. Is that not beautiful?
That is great. I noticed not only that, but we're also using the exact same database that we've been using since 1995.
You weren't supposed to point that out, okay?
It's okay. It makes me feel comfortable. It's an environment that I understand.
Well, that's true. That's a very good point. Man.
I feel right at home here in VB.NET. I don't know about you, but...
I do too, Chris. It's great.
I wish the Sarge was here to enjoy this.
The Sarge would enjoy this. He really would. He would be chewing us out right now. I have a feeling.
I would kick. Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, so here we go. Let's look at the next part of this demo. I'm cramming a lot of stuff into this demo like we did for Demo 1.
There's our friend Nancy DeVolio.
We've got Nancy DeVolio. We have Tortuga Resta. We have Quick Stop. We've got a bunch of orders here. And you'll notice that each time we click on an order, we jump back into the IDE.
Where we unset that breakpoint and rerun the application.
Let's try that again. All right, so we've got a master details Windows form here. We've got two data grids, one that shows orders, one that shows the details of those orders, and you'll notice that we've got some text boxes that show the customer information. So we've got a lot of different tables displaying all on that one Windows form. Let's go ahead and walk through the code and see how we actually do that in VisualBasic.net, okay? I'll bring up my task list. I'll
bring up that task list.
I'll just bring up my task list here. Okay, I'm going to view my task. Why?
Sarge, can we bring in the Sarge? We need the Sarge.
You miserable little dirtbag programmer pukes.
All right, here we go. I'm going to outsmart this thing. All right, let's bring up the output window. I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pin it, and now I'm going to look at the task. It's a little ornery. Didn't want to wake up this morning. Now, let's go ahead and look at the code here. When we load up this form, we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. We're going to create some data sets. We're going to pull information from the various tables that we need information from. We're going to bind that information to the various data grids. Let's go ahead and see how we do that now.
So after form load, we are fully bound?
We are all bound up as soon as that form loads. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new SQL string so that we can pull some information from the employees table. Okay? Are you with me so far?
So far. Keep going. Don't lose me.
Yeah. Oh, check this out. SQL Command Builder. New cool little thing that you can do, okay? Use the SQL Command Builder object to automatically generate update, insert, and delete statements based on a single select statement.
Get out.
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove it.
All right, so here's what we've got. We've got our select statement. We are going to grab our update statement, and then we're going to fill up our employee information. So we have a data set, DS employee orders, and we're going to fill that up with the information that we just used from our select statement. Now you'll notice over the course of the next few lines, we're creating new select statements, and we're filling up new data sets so that we can view the various types of information that we want to display on that form, okay? So the sales information, the actual order information, the details of the orders. We loaded up the employee information. It's all gravy, as the VB rapper would say, all right? At this point, we're setting data tables equal to tables that reside within that single data set, DS employee orders. Okay, that's kind of cool, right? With a single data set, you can store information from different tables, and you can access those different tables using data table objects. Pretty cool, huh?
One word. That's versatile.
That was two words. Yeah, moving right along here, folks.
Come on, let's get through this demo.
Can I have some professionals to work with here, please? Anyone? Anyone? All right, let's go ahead and bind some more of this data to the data grid. So we've just filled up our data set, okay? We've associated data tables with the various tables within the data set, and now we're going to do the thing that Chris enjoys doing most, binding. Binding that data to the data grids on our form. And that's what we're seeing here. All right.
I see it. I see it.
You see it?
Are you going to run this thing soon?
Work with me here for a second. I like looking at code, okay? What we're doing here is we're getting the current order ID by checking the current row index of the data grid. So any row that I click on within the orders data grid will give me the current row and allow me to find out the order details based on that.
Got to have the master before you can get the detail.
True that. True that. Okay, so when we want to move forward or backward in the employee database that will update the text boxes as well as both of the data grids, we're setting the binding context of our form for that particular data table, the DT employee table, and we're simply moving the position up or down by 1.
And you're even using that new wacky new operator, that plus equals thing.
That plus equals thing. Yeah. I tell you what, folks, that was not a C++ thing first, okay? We had actually thought of it a long time ago. They just implemented it first, okay?
We were just saving it for VB.net.
Yeah, you know how we do.